This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
Oh, yeah. So you probably want to get yours up a little bit closer.
Okay.
You can grab just...
All right. Yeah. And co-host Marnie Winfield.
I got nothing.
Well, let's talk recovery.
Is that, are we supposed to finish that sentence or something?
No. It is the 26th of October, 2021. My name is Corey Winfield.
My name is Marnie Winfield.
And this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. And your father there was on the open.
Yep, that's my dad.
He was like, well, am I supposed to... Whatever he said at the end there.
That was an interesting podcast, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting one because we were having mic problems. And I think at the time I didn't know that it was like echoing, and so it was a hot mess. And then just from personal standpoint, I think it was a little bit tough for you kind of and your family, but your dad came to visit us recently.
He did.
Yeah, that was a joy.
It was a joy.
And and it's funny because when we go through our deepest, darkest times, those people are there for us. Mm-hmm. And then you fast forward 2 years and you got 2 years sobriety under your belt. Like we treat them different, if that makes sense. I do the same thing with my mother. Mm-hmm. And I think it drives her crazy. And I think it makes her feel like, oh, what? You needed me then, but you don't need me now? Right. And unfortunately, the answer to that's kind of like, yeah. Not that I don't need my mother now, and not that you don't need your father now, but it's just like, it's a different type of need. And I want to do a better job of connecting with my mother. And it would be nice to set up a time each week to talk to her. Unfortunately, my life doesn't work that way. It's a lot of things. It kind of fits me perfect, especially doing the ride thing. It's a lot of things are last minute. Mm-hmm. And that's how I operate. Yeah. So if I could set up a time to call family, I would. I was supposed to do that with my sister as well. And it's just, it doesn't work out that way. Right.
And it's funny because, he'll leave me voicemails or something and be like, hey, it's your dad. I haven't heard from you. Give me a call. And I used to get those exact email or phone calls, voicemails, back when I was in my active addiction, and it was completely different reasons why he hadn't heard from me. Not because I didn't have time. It's because I didn't want to pick up the phone, so, but the tone in his voice, isn't that fear, isn't that like, I haven't heard from you in a long time. Are
you okay?
It's more like, do you still have time for your old dad? I know you're out there, killing it, but, remember me. And, he's extremely proud of where I'm at right now. But I think there's a piece of him that, you're right. And it sounds weird, but they, not saying they liked us needing them, but, they wouldn't give this up for anything in the world, right, where we're at now. But, he came to visit and we were just like, you were doing your thing and, I was trying to do my thing, like working from home. Plus I've been, with this back thing. And so, in fact, I had a doctor's appointment and it was like scheduled for like the next day. He's like, oh, I can take you. Dad can take you. And I was like, oh, okay, calm down. Great. You can take me. Like, it was a privilege. It was funny.
The thing I love most about when your dad visits,
Man.
Oh God, what's it going to be?
Is like, we don't know when he's leaving.
Yeah.
It's the greatest.
No, it's not.
It's just so awesome. It's
and
like,
he tricks you.
Oh,
he's tricky because, he will frame it on the phone like, I want to come up and see ya. When's good for you? And then I'll finally squeeze in a time that, does make sense. And it will be like seasons apart. It's not like every other month or anything. Thank God. But, And then he'll be like, yeah, I just want to come check in with you, and maybe we'll go to lunch, and then he'll say a few things that are activities that take like a day. And that's it. And then he shows up, and then there's really no clear, the morning comes and he's up making coffee out of his own coffee maker, because that's what my dad has to do, is bring his own coffee maker with him when he comes.
Yeah. Everything else.
And then it's another day. And finally I'm like getting kind of snippy. I'm like, how long are you planning on staying? And then he's like, gets this big wide-eyed look like, am I overstaying my welcome? Yeah.
Yeah, I love it too. And you're like, oh, Dad's coming and we're going to go to lunch. And I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. Sweet. And I think that day I had a ride. And then I get home and I'm like, where's your dad? And, oh, he's not here yet. I was like, well, it's dinner time now. Like, he clearly can't drive back home. He lives hours away. And then, oh, I'll take you to the doctor. And it's like, oh, okay. And then it's Friday, and I'm like, oh, hey, remember Monday when you guys are going to go to lunch?
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, but I like your dad, and he really did kind of help us out. And I think there was something I was trying to do, or I don't remember. But, him taking you to the doctor appointment was something that, it did help me out a little bit, I think. And, I think maybe we're kind of learning each other because, we've been married almost a year.
I know.
And I think you used to think that I would like avoid him, or that I just didn't like your father or something, but I don't play Scrabble. That's something you guys do. It'd be like me going, hey, grab a controller. We're going to play some Madden real quick. He'd be like, what? Like there's just a lot of things that we don't have in common. And I'm usually trying to stay busy, with doing things. And I feel like I'm behind in everything I'm doing all the time. And even when I complete something, I could have done it better. So let me go back and fix it.
Yeah, you do that.
And it's annoying, but I don't know. It's just how I am. So I think that you're kind of getting a little bit used to that too. And you're not taking it personal, like, oh, you're just hiding in the office.
Right.
Like, no, not really.
And sometimes I think, especially after this visit, because I was not able to leave to go, do anything. It wasn't about, I couldn't leave the house really. I haven't really been able to go out anywhere unless it's, necessary. And so he kind of was like, but he still appreciates just being here, because it's a change in his schedule too. I mean, he kind of, I'm sure his daily routine gets super mundane. And just to be able to see and hear, I know for a fact, him seeing you in your office and, us being busy and me having to work all day, even though I'm working from home, he's like proud of that, so he's fine and dandy, just kind of being in the back, kind of just soaking that all up. So
yeah, he doesn't take a lot of, we don't have to
cater to his.
Yeah, we don't have to be there like for him, like to be like, oh, well, I feel bad because I'm not sitting on the couch watching baseball with you. Like, yeah. I don't feel like that at all.
Yeah.
So that's good. And while he was here, made some underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah. 217 Recovery podcast, cares about your ass is what we put on the. They're like boxer briefs or whatever, but we put them on the leg and gave them to the treatment center in town, local treatment center for men. And we were supposed to get socks for him too, but then that shipment was, I don't know, lost. So we had to reorder those. I think it should be here in a day or two. But then the treatment center, the one local, is having COVID issues and all kinds of issues. So it's like we have a box of like panties and women's. We have so many women's socks, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
That we're going to donate to the local treatment center, because you and I, we've talked before about this, and it's just clean, brand new, soft socks, like clean underwear. You think, oh, yeah, I have that all the time. Well, not everybody does. And when you show up at a place and you have nothing, just that little bit can really kind of change your attitude when you're in a treatment center. So I understand that. And, hopefully we'll be able to buy bigger and better things for them. But, it's only because of the support from people who donate to 217 Recovery that we're even able to do that kind of thing. So
right.
We do really appreciate it. And the people that we're giving them to, they appreciate it too.
Yeah.
So, and it's just one of those things that a lot of people don't even think about. They think, oh, they need toothbrushes. They need this, they need that. Yeah. But they usually are getting the toothbrushes. Like that stuff's already there. Like I've seen the closet.
Yeah.
I know what's in there and I know what's not. And I know what people come up to me and say, hey, I don't have any underwear. Oh, okay. What happened to them? I really didn't want to get into that story either with the guys, but yeah, it's just something that you can't really pass hand-me-down underwears. I mean, you could, but
well, that's exactly it. Is you could have kind people donate things all day long that are hand-me-downs, but I mean, as far as things like socks and underwear, those are things that need to be brand new. Mm-hmm. So, that's what we're finding the needs and trying to fill that gap.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for me to go through my closet and the guy says he doesn't have any shorts. Okay, yeah, here you go. These are from when I was skinny or whatever. Here you go. Here's a shirt. Of course, I throw a logo on it. But yeah, here you go. And that's easy to do. But just the underwear and socks and stuff like that is just something that most people don't think about. And we are. So again, thanks for the support. Without that, we wouldn't be able to do it. So really do appreciate it. And giving's never been easier, especially if you have the 217 Recovery app. It takes you to the Subsplash giving page, which is a breeze. You can set it up to give $5 a month. You can set it up for a one-time deal. And right now, too, the Ian Happ autograph poster, he's a Chicago Cub, autographed. I don't want to call it a poster. Well, it is a poster or a photo. I don't know. I'll mail it, whoever ends up winning it, because it's not something we're doing it, but we're not in control of it. But it's more like a raffle, and you can buy for $5. You can buy one entry, and I think for $10 you get 3, and then $15 you get 4 entries. And on Halloween at 11:59 is when that ends. And then Monday, the 1st, 8 a.m., the company that we're using will pick a winner and we'll notify them and mail that bad boy out.
That's great.
Yeah. So you still got some time. And we sent, I don't know, in radio we call it an e-blast, but we sent a monthly newsletter out the other day. If you got that, that's awesome. We also posted it on Facebook and Twitter. So if you need to see it, it's there. But it just kind of runs down some of the things we're doing, some of the things we have going on, like the new Saturday night, or I guess it's not Saturday night, it's just Saturday guest series, where each week we're going to have a new guest come on and it's going to be videotaped. But I'm not going to use Zoom again, because Zoom, it doesn't record at the highest quality. I guess it does if you pay for like an executive account. I don't even know what that is. So, I mean, we do pay for Zoom, but I guess, I don't know. I'll check the settings and maybe I'll give Zoom another chance, but there's another program that will record in 1080. So it's actually nice. I mean, if you look on the app and watch the video, it looks fine. But if you go to YouTube, and maybe that's just because YouTube's processing of it too, I have no idea, but it looks like crap.
Really?
So just go to the app, man.
Right.
Don't go to YouTube. Ugh. And the app is free. It's in the App Store. It's in the Google Play Store. But yeah, so that's something that we're looking forward to. And if you would like to be a guest, maybe know someone who would like to come on and tell their story of recovery and their journey through where they're at now in life, it's easy. Just send me an email, Corey, Corey, at 217recovery.com. Give me just a little rundown of your history. You don't have to write your whole book in the email to me. Just to say, hey, I've been clean for so long, or, here's my deal. Just a paragraph or whatever, a couple sentences. We can chat on the phone about it and set it up. I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's something that'll be a lot of fun to do for people.
That's great.
So that's pretty much all I wanted to say today.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've had a pretty good day in recovery, I think.
That's good.
Actually, I met with a woman by the name, I'm like, I'm done. And then I started in.
Yeah, it's okay.
Patricia Steele. And she wrote a book. Like she was an addict and her addiction actually is like the nightmare. You know, something that didn't happen to me. Thank God that when I did drive that night, I didn't kill anybody. Unfortunately, there are cases where people are injured and people do die and people go to prison. Kind of Pamela's story. Not Pamela. Patricia's story. So she gave me her book, which I can't wait to read. She has a TED Talk, which I need to check out. And I invited her to be a guest on the podcast. And she's like, I've never been on a podcast before. I was like, oh my God, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do in life. I didn't say that, but she was just like, I've never done it. I'm like, no, that's cool. And she said that right now is super busy for her. So after the new year, I was like, hey, you know, just let me know. Snap your fingers, and it's going to be January 18th. Right. That's how time flies. So,
you know, we have that book already.
Well, I got another one.
That's awesome.
Did you know that?
I know. Did she sign it?
No, but she would.
No, her book's called The Gift of Second Chances.
Have you read it?
It's an amazing book. Yeah.
Really?
Talks about her experiences and her throes of addiction and, you know, repercussions and where she's at now. So, but
the weird thing about Patricia is that people have been telling me I needed to meet her for quite some time. And they're like, oh, you know, meet her. And a friend of ours, Dale Hall, and she's mutual friends with them. It was back when I was in the sober living house with Ryan and Chris and Tyrone and all them. And they had a speaker meeting thing that they had set up, and Kahar was speaking there, and she showed up, and, you know, Tyrone was like, man, you should see this lady. She had her whole set up there. She had her books out, you know. He's like, you need to do some stuff like that. You need to talk to that lady. And then Dale Hall told me I needed to get in touch with her. And then I was just kind of looking at some of the organizations in town and thinking, okay, well, we need to reach out and see if, you know, make contact with people to see what they offer, that we can kind of direct people to them. And then maybe they can direct people to us that we can help. And Salvation Army was one of those places. So I reached out to Salvation Army saying, hey, you know, I'd really like to, you know, meet with you and talk to you and figure out, you know, how we can work together in some kind of fashion. And then she wrote me back, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then we talked, and then I got COVID. I was supposed to drop off some brochures, and anyway, finally did. But it's just kind of funny, like me not even knowing that, hey, this is the person I'm going to contact is somebody that people told me months and months ago that I need to contact. It's just kind of like God had that set up, and
yeah,
it's kind of like you know, God had you there for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, no, I'm going to break you. And then God was like, all right, you know, here you go. I'll prove to you that she's the one that you need to be with, and put me back on that right path. So just when you think, well, maybe I'm not doing the right things, just keep doing what you're doing, and God will work it out, and He'll make it a little louder for you.
Right.
If you're not sure about it.
Same thing with myself and her, is I had seen she spoke at the recovery homes not recovery homes, I'm sorry, treatment centers of the place that I work for. And I always missed her, you know, because that time I was working midnights. So obviously you'd think that I'm not going to be there when she's, you know, doing her spiel. Yeah, it sucked. Bad. Anyhow, but she had done her presentation there, and then there was a bunch of talk about how great she was, and she wrote this book, and the girls were all, you know, talking about, oh my gosh, this woman, and this is what she overcame, and And I'm like, you're talking about the same lady again. Every time she gave the presentation, there was this talk, and I'm like, I gotta read this book. So I ended up, asking for it for Christmas, I think, like 2 years ago, or probably about 2 years ago. That would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Timeline. And my mom ended up getting it for me. But, and then I reached out because I was looking for some assistance, some funding assistance for, I think it was later for something or another. I can't remember. But you can, they have funding there for individuals that are in need. If you're in a crunch and it's something that is totally valid, thing that you need help with. And I'm not talking about big money. I'm just talking about a little bit of help. And by golly, she was the lady that was behind the window. And she says, let me give you my card. And I look at it and it says Patricia. And I'm like, Patricia, where have I heard that name before? I'm like Patty Steele. And we had emailed back and forth. And I was just like, I didn't really put it together. Mm. And then finally, I was like literally sitting across the window from her. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I have been waiting to meet you. I'm like, this is not the circumstances in which I'd be thinking I'd be seeing you. But, and she was very down to earth. And, she works a very humble job, helping people and talking, telling her story. So, awesome lady.
Yeah. And what's weird, too, is I emailed with her yesterday, and I planned on dropping off the brochures today. And then this morning, a woman called me, and she was like, hey, I'm going to treatment. I have no idea how I'm going to get there. I'm funded through the PIHP up there, but I have no ride. And I was like, all right, well, hope not handcuffs. And I think there might have been maybe like... maybe we'll call it embarrassment, because after so many times of reaching out to the same people, like when I would go to the hospital over and over and over, I was embarrassed, so to keep asking the same people, hey, help me, you just kind of don't want to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, she ended up finding a place, or finding a ride through us. But I was like, oh, well, Patty Steele. Salvation Army might be able to help you. And if they can't, maybe they can direct you to somebody who can get you funding to get you to where you need to go. So, and then I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy, because I'm going to go see her today anyway. And we talked about that. And she's like, yeah, I tried to get hold of that lady again, but I couldn't, because where she was calling from wasn't like, she didn't have a phone. Mm-hmm. And she's like living in the woods. Mm-hmm. So it's like, how do I get a hold of her? And I kind of told her like, oh, well, we are going to, take her. And she did find something, and she's like, oh, good. Mm-hmm. But it was just kind of crazy that I was going to see her today anyway, and then here I am passing somebody that she might be able to help. God's crazy.
It is.
God's crazy. Mm-hmm. The way he works. It's insane. But I like it. A friend of mine posted on Facebook today, Facebook. And he threw it out there, and he's going to be like, man, why you put my business out there? Which obviously he puts his own business out there on Facebook. Said that good women or women don't want good men. Otherwise I'd already have a woman and this and that. And I was like, slow your roll, bro. Like, God wants you to work on yourself is what the deal is. He's not going to let anybody come near you because you're not ready for that yet. Mm-hmm. And just do what you need to do, work on yourself, and everything else will just unfold, And I was like, trust me, man. Like, the last thing that people need, and that's why a lot of people say, wait a year. I wouldn't say wait a year. I would say fix yourself. Mm-hmm. Get right with yourself. Everything else will just come into play. Right. And yeah, you want companionship. Yeah, you want somebody to talk to and to cuddle with. But you know what? It'll be there one day if you start doing the things you need to do. Get yourself sober. Get yourself a car. Get yourself a job. Do those little things. Get some traction under you. Mm-hmm. And the rest will come. Mm-hmm. It's promises. And so I kind of posted that on there for him, and he was just like, whoa, look, really?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Mm-hmm. And he listens to the podcast too. So
Awesome.
I'm proud of him. You know, that's how you know he's doing better.
Right.
And I got something that I did for him. I don't know if I told you about it. Maybe I did. But if I have time, that's the problem. I can put that together for him, and it would really surprise him. And I think it will show him that other people do care.
What is it?
Oh, I can't say it because then he's going to know.
Oh, it hasn't been presented yet.
Right.
I gotcha. Never mind.
I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
Okay. But it'll be something that I think he'll really appreciate. And sometimes when other people do things for you that you don't expect, you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, they're the most
wow.
appreciated gifts.
Yeah. And, you know, I consider this guy a friend, and I don't talk to him every day. You know, we all have our days and our moments, but, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, if he needs to go to a meeting or whatever, you know, I'll definitely go with him if I can. But yeah, I think he'll be pleasantly surprised. Just needs to chill out on the women bashing on Facebook. Not that he's bashing them. He's just, and I know what he's saying, man. But again, if those women are going after those dudes that aren't legit or whatever, you don't want those kind of women anyway.
Touché.
Straight up. You don't. You know, I've been in those shoes, and I had to go, no, that's not how I want to be treated. Mm-hmm. No, thanks. Bye. And then she told me I could do something, but she doesn't even have one, so I don't know how I would do that. Stupid. Yeah, and then that just kind of verified that, yep, don't need to be with her. Let me just keep on my little path here and meet this woman named Marnie one day. And yeah, it works out how it's supposed to. But you just have to realize, you know, this isn't what I want. This is what I want. And this is how I want to be treated. And I don't know. It worked out great for me.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of God. He's a big fan of mine. Jesus is a huge fan.
Yeah, here we are.
So anyway, we're done tonight, though.
Yeah.
For right now, because I need to get sleep. Yeah. Long ride tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Get the app. I know I told you to do that earlier, but you need to do that if you haven't. You can listen to every single podcast we've ever done.
Lots of podcasts.
Yep. 2019, 2020, and then, of course, this year. Like I said, the video, we kicked it off with Jacob Sparks last Saturday, and I had to apologize to him because I talked too much. I was like, sorry, bro, I talked too much. He's like, no, you didn't. It was great. But he had a fun time with it, and it was really good. So check out his video on the Saturday guest series if you want to be a guest. Again, COREY at 217recovery.com. If you would like to donate things to us for us to auction off, email Marnie, MARNEY, at 217recovery.com. Resource director. 217recovery.com. Need more info. See ya.
Night, everybody.
Win a bunch of free shit from 217 Recovery. Go to the app or the website, 217recovery.com.